from the Showboat in Atlantic City. Okay, all you cellulite freaks out there. This is the show you've been waiting for. Nudists. Now, are we talking fat, ugly bodies, waddling up and down the beach, or a thinly disguised way of life for a bunch of exhibitionists? You look for a little sexual excitement in your backyard, right? Now, I'll tell you what. Just to get with the flow of things, I'm going to take off an item of clothing in each scene. Nudism, next, come on. Let me introduce you. Somehow I have a funny feeling I'm not going to get through this show in one piece. Or maybe I meant I'm not going to get through this show with one piece. Now, I'll tell you what, okay, my first item of clothing is gone. I would ask all these nice ladies and gentlemen in our stands here, take off an item of clothing every segment. I see some of you are down to one segment already. Now, let me introduce the folks at home base here. We have Bill Flesher. Ooh, that's a great name. And Fran Flesher. They have the Treehouse Fun Ranch. And we have with us Phyllis Miller from the Assembly of God Church, which I believe. Thank you, Phyllis, for being here. You, of course, heard my invitation to the audience. Each one of them during each segment can take off an item of clothing. If you want to join us, it's quite all right.
Only for my husband.
All you have to say, Phyllis, is, what would Jimmy Swagger have done? Right? Let me start with
Even he
Bill.
did it privately.
Bill, let me start with you, pal. You run a little spot called the Treehouse Fun Ranch. Now, exactly what kind of fun do you have in the treehouse, baby?
We have a 53-acre resort that has swimming pools, spas, tennis courts, 2 restaurants, and horseback riding and a little of everything. And it's a nice family-oriented nudist.
Imagine if they're nude, you do have a little brother. Fran, at what point in your life did you get the uncontrollable desire to run around with your little breasties hanging out?
First of all, I was born that way.
You were born that way.
51 years ago.
Were you born with breasts?
I was born nude like most
Were you
everybody
born
else
with breasts,
does.
and were they saggy?
I was born with every part of the body that I have now,
We're all
except it
born
was
in
smaller.
sin.
Okay. Phyllis said loudmouth one anytime you want to interject something, anytime you'd like to insert anything, go right ahead. Let me
I
come
said
to...
we were all born in sin, Mort.
We were all born in sin?
No, God did not create us sinful. He created us from the love of Him.
Right, but we disobeyed the rules.
It is the human beings that made things sinful. It's a mind over matter. It is not the human body or God's creation that is sinful.
It is sin. We negated God's plan, His original plan.
Fran and Bill, do you consider yourself exhibitionists? I mean, do you like walking around showing your sagging breasts and your teeny weeny?
Nudists come in all sizes, all shapes, tall, thin, whatever, and we do our nude walking, or whatever you want to call it, in the atmosphere of where it's legal to go nude. That's why we have resorts and certain beaches that are legal for nudity. A place like this is not. But I see a lot of potentials out there that could be
attention.
Phyllis, let me ask you, do you think there's more to the whole nudist thing than just seeking a perfect tan? I mean, is this just the ultimate in easy sex access?
I just see it as them bringing additional shame to an already promiscuous society.
All right.
That's
Let me show of
exactly
hands.
what people think. They equate nudity with sex. But you do not have
There's no way to separate it.
Oh, yes, there is.
Second, all right? Come back with us. We're going to talk about to some of the folks out here. You say that nudity and sex are, of course you have to get naked to get with it, all right? But the point is, does everyone who gets naked get with it? Have you ever slept naked with a man and not had sex with him? Truthfully, have you?
No.
Let me see a show of hands from guys here who have slept naked with a woman and not had sex with her. So, Phyllis, and this is truthful, I have done that. I have done that on many occasions, slept naked with a woman and not had sex, all right? Now, we're going to come back and find out if this really is a problem. Notice... What about their children? Let me introduce some new guests that we have joining us in this segment. We have at the loudmouth Diane Lewis, who is a born-again Christian. Hi, Diane.
Right.
Diane. No. And, of course, Phyllis has joined us at home base, where she can become part of the activities. I have an objection. I guess I have no objection, really, if everyone wants to take off their clothes and show their bare butts. But let me ask you a question of the fleshers here. You really have the right to impose that on the whole family, including little kids? Let me see the pictures, those little kids. Little kids, I mean, isn't that really something for some pedophile to sit around, you know? Huh?
Actually, this is a family resort. We are members of the American Sunbathing Association. And this is a lifestyle with us. It's something that people don't understand. If we were exhibitionists, we would take our clothes off right here. This is not what we want to do. We want to make you understand and educate you to the point it is a lifestyle. It's not something to do with
Cocaine is a lifestyle for some people, but it's not good.
But this is something we do not allow in our resorts also. And if anybody knows anything about the American Sunbathing Association, it's a very high-class association. It's
Wait a minute.
Some of them
Do you
magazines.
check criminal records of your people? Do you check to make sure they have no...
Do you take criminal... Wait a second. Wait a second. Did you take a criminal record of Tammy? Did you take a criminal record of Jim? Phyllis, let me ask...
Why'd you let me answer what you just said?
What?
You asked me a question.
Yeah, did you take criminal records of Jim and Tammy and Swagger? They had no prior convictions,
That's right.
but they were a bunch of real sicko perverts.
You know, sin got in the way of their life.
but these people are promoting it. They're saying that they don't have sex going on.
You're saying that everyone who gets naked because they show
No,
their...
you're putting words in my mouth. I did not say that.
Okay, all right, go ahead.
I
What'd you
didn't
say?
say it. I
How are
said
they
that when they
promoting?
walk around and they're naked and they bring their kids there and says, wonderful family affair, how come when you have contests, all the pornographers show
Can they
up?
speak for the sickies? Can they speak for the sickies?
No, but they let them in around innocent children around...
How do you know that?
Well, wait a second. Now, how about the kids? Why should some kids, 7 or 8, have to be raised? The only thing that they can identify with sex is some shriveled up penis and sagging breast.
They look at the wholesomeness of the family issue. It's not the
mentally
sexual.
abusive
It
to
is not the
children.
sexual. Believe
Let
me,
me
this
give
is
mentally abusive.
this is the
You
worst
go into the
place that
cabins
they
at
would
night and
have.
trap them.
Overstimulation, extended focusing, it's abusive.
It's abusive?
Overstimulation.
Stimulation. I would think if you went around and, I don't know, all right? I don't go to nudist colonies, but I would think if you went around, if you resorts, what the hell
Colonies
is
are
that?
for ants.
All right. I would think if you went around, you invite some of the uncles there too, though, don't you? I would think if you went around nude long enough, you'd kind of become desensitized to seeing that stuff, and it wouldn't be any big deal.
They don't grow up socially accepted.
Let me tell you something.
We have 5
We
children
have
that
5
have grown
children.
into the
And
nudist movement, and they all are part of our community.
What do they do
Not
for a
only
living?
that, my son's a police officer. My other
That's
son's a
why you haven't
fireman.
gotten
My
busted.
daughter's a court reporter. My son-in-law's a city attorney.
We also have a sheriff
And we have a sheriff
as a
in our...
daughter-in-law.
Can I say
So
something?
Let me hear.
Wait a minute.
Let me hear. Skip it.
In Indiana, there was a nudist colony. The guy's no longer in business because he's no longer in business because he got busted for child pornography. And when the sheriff arrested 16 people, 12 of them had criminal records. Do I think you're walking around nude all day and playing bingo at night when the lights go out? Give me a break.
We don't play bingo.
Do I think... Wait a second. You're fully clothed.
Right,
I mean,
and I'm
unless
gonna
you're,
stay that
unless
way,
you're a
Mark.
little abnormal, do I think you're playing bingo all day and doing nothing at night? Yes. I can think what I wanted.
I mean, for
Have
every
you ever had sex? Have you? Is it dirty? Is it dirty? Honey, I've had real sex. Let me go to Fran Fletcher. Doesn't the presence really, let's really get down to the basics. Doesn't the presence of nude and naked bodies mingling with the younger, sexually curious kids have the potential for disaster?
The kids don't have to be in a serious situation like some of these magazines and things that the children that are outside the nudist movement read to look at all these sexual things. They can see what a nude body is right from the start, and they respect it.
Children?
Why? Because this is our society. This is a family environment. We're all born without our clothes. God has given us a mind to make sure that our children are growing up into the likeness of Him, whether it's
Wait a minute.
Let me ask a question. Wait a second, wait a second.
Get it right, okay?
Let me ask a question. Let me ask a question. Do you belong to a formal church?
Yes, I'm very Catholic.
Which one?
I would hate to admit that. I went to Catholic girls' school. I had a very good training.
Oh, that explains.
And I have raised 5 children, and we now have 16 grandchildren.
Wait a minute! This country was founded because of that Bible. This country was founded because of the Word of God.
Religion is not the issue in our lifestyle. We have no test of politics or religion. We just have important, talented minds.
Let me tell you about her mind. Let me tell you about her mind.
It's a whole
In the Bible, it talks about a person. Give me my chance.
Go ahead, go
It
ahead.
talks about a person without clothes on, running around. When Christ delivered him from the demon that was in him, immediately he put on clothes and he had his right mind returned to him.
Well, You know what I'm going to do? Go ahead, sweetheart. You want to say
What
something?
I'd like to say is, if anyone here knows Newton law, which I sort of doubt, but for every action there is a reaction. So please don't walk around Newton questioning the
Don't be frightened. Don't be frightened. Don't be frightened. I just want to show you that people who don't agree with you still love you, all right?
Thank you.
And I know that you love people who don't agree with you.
Absolutely.
All right? So, what I want to say is this.
Now, here it comes.
Don't knock my viewers and my audience that we don't understand Newton's
I'm your
law.
audience.
Are you? Do you watch the show
every
regularly?
night.
All right, good. So, I think there are a lot of us in here love God, love Jesus, you know, who respect the Bible, but we are not so hung up on wearing clothes all the time. That's going to make us jump into the sack.
But, you know, I hate to say that one of my very best friends goes to nudist colonies all the time. So I did a little research, and I said, what happens? He said, we don't go there to have sex, but invariably, we have wild sex with different people every night.
Sweetheart,
Now,
you can go to
okay,
the Senate. You can go to the Senate in Washington, D.C., and those...
But why bring children? Why bring children there?
Excuse me, but aren't we forgetting an issue here? Isn't this country based on freedom? Aren't we allowed to do what we want to do in our lives? No,
It's based on moral values. Moral values.
Your own moral values.
The Bible, God.
Let me speak now. Their moral values tell them they want to
So
go
I want to
nude.
come to this young lady. We're
No,
going to
not
meet
my moral
some New
values.
Jersey nudists who were told by the state to get dressed. Hey, state, huh? See you in a minute. We've got, joining us at Loudmouth 2 now, we have Tony and Jack Egbert. They are tri-state metro naturalists, all right? Let me go to naturists or naturalists, whatever the hell. You guys call yourself the tri-state metro naturalists, right?
Correct.
All right. Now, is there a difference between a nudist and a naturalist?
Not really.
None?
We all take our clothes off.
Do you? Are you guys married?
25 years.
25 years. How long have you been in this business of taking your clothes off? I mean, so other people could see. I know you took them off originally when you got married.
25 years plus.
25 years plus.
Yeah.
Did you guys meet as naturists?
No.
No?
But we met at camp,
You met at a camp.
but not a nature camp.
What kind of a camp?
Just a camp.
Concentration camp? I mean, what kind? Met at camp? Did you have sex before you were married?
Yes.
Yes, we did.
I love honest answers, man. I love honest answers. No one gets in trouble for telling the truth. Now, you have kids.
Yes, we do.
Your kids join you in this activity?
No, they
No,
don't.
but they're here.
Kids are over there?
Yes.
Why don't the kids join you?
That's their choice not to.
Okay, you guys decide not to join mom and dad? It's kind of icky looking at those bodies, wasn't it, man?
They have a choice.
They have a choice. But is there a difference between a naturist and a nudist? What is it?
Not really. We're
We all do the same thing.
We all enjoy Actually, I only need a grape leaf.
I mean, Let me ask you a question. Maybe I don't understand. Why do you take your clothes off? Is it more fun to, like, go to Disneyland or go to some place to take your clothes off? I mean, I don't understand it.
We don't advocate going just any place with your clothes off. There's a time and a place for everything.
But tell me why it's an advantage
Because
to you.
it feels good and you don't get sand
So
in your
you're in the, if
bathing
it
suit.
feels...
Hear from Phyllis.
In our society
throw
that
jump
says
in.
if it feels good, do
the
it.
privacy of my home. I'm not against nudity with my spouse. Why with everyone else?
Wait, could I just say something?
You to take your clothes off.
But you're promoting it. You're putting into the minds of these people that it's okay.
A lot of
It
these
is. It's not okay.
If it's okay, how come the United Nations...
Fran.
Geneva, Switzerland says that they have to start protecting women and children against you type of people. It's the United Nations, dummy.
Wait a second.
States is one of the few industrialized countries in this world that does not have clothing optional designated beaches. Many countries all over the
if
world
that's your
do.
argument, then there was an article in the New York Times that said, wait a minute, that said that in Rome, and I go to Rome in Spain every summer, in Rome...
Typical. Very typical of the people who can afford to go to Rome. I can give you a better vacation in my jacuzzi, sweetheart.
According to what you said, I'm sure of it.
I'm trying to hear you, Diane.
No, I'm trying to say, what I'm trying to say is that in Rome now, there's a $350 fine per person if they take their top off. Because they want, that's where it is. In the Italian Riviera, because they want to promote decency for women and children. It just happened 2 weeks ago. Yes, I do. You don't know. Tell me when you've
wait a
been
second.
there.
Phyllis
You
says,
just got out of kindergarten.
Phyllis says that's why Rome fell before. Am I right? Phyllis says that's why Rome fell before.
Well, there's a lot of other reasons
You bet
for the
your
fall of the
life. How
Roman
about,
Empire,
how about a lot
not just taking the clothes
yeah,
off.
right. How about the okaying of promiscuity? That's why Rome fell.
I agree with you 100%. But in the nudist colony, wait a minute, in the nudist colony in Indiana, according to the sheriff, there was a lot of homosexuality.
Have you, Diane?
Yeah.
Let me ask Diane. Have
You
you
got
have you ever seen nudists in action, and do you think they're looking for a little more action than they say they are?
I think they're looking for the action.
Have you ever seen them in action?
No. I could get in if I wanted to go. I choose not to go. I have moral values. I know you do not understand what that word means, but
I have moral values.
according to God's word.
Otherwise, I would be taking
No, wait
all my
a
clothes off here.
second. Wait a second. She says she has moral values, and I agree. You do.
I do.
Right? I think you do. They have moral values that may be somewhat different than yours. I have moral values, all right? I don't go around abusing women, slugging them, raping them, or
Only
anything else.
men.
Huh?
Only
No, sweetheart, I don't. Give the lady credit. She's so happy she survived that statement. Let me go ahead, Phyllis. You want to say something?
I have a copy of it.
You're going to really want to say something in the next segment when I drop these.
I have a copy of an article that was in the California Magazine in 1984 talking about their USA pageant at the Tree Farm.
Treehouse Bud Ranch.
Go ahead. Tell
The
us.
Miss Nude International. All three articles talks about how there's no sexual connotation, that the scantily dressed bring on more turn on than no dress.
They do.
But
They do.
That is.
But they contradict
Wait a second,
themselves. They contradict themselves because they also have competition with little cute outfits like a ballet dancing outfit, fishing outfits, ice skating outfits, water skiing, softball, archery, aerobics, and weightlifting outfits.
Let me ask Diane. Wait a second. Let me ask Diane. Fran, zip it a second. I want to ask Diane something because I think, Diane, from a purely physical point of view, all right? Do you think it's humanly possible to put naked men and naked women together without having the poor guys pole vaulting down the beach?
Not necessarily.
They are the right type of people, but I think that these type of places promote perverts.
That's right.
And in Indiana,
Wait a minute.
in Indiana, they're making $350,000 a weekend.
You'll find in our places that there is more law enforcement, more security than any place. Everyone that's there, besides the many ministers, the priests, and everybody else from the middle class of society that comes there. Everybody watches for everybody.
All right, I'll tell you what. I want the audience to come down. We're going to ask the little nudies to bear with us while we see if they're the first stop on the road to Sodom and Gomorrah. Incidentally, before I go any further, let me promote Phyllis Miller's new book. I don't do that on the show, but being this is the type of show that we're doing, the new book is called Inch by Inch. She says it has nothing to do with nudity, but isn't that a convenient title, huh? All right. Let me go to Phyllis, as a matter of fact. Phyllis, you've said that the widespread practice of nudism has led to the decline of some civilization. I mean, I'm not crazy about cellulite, but how bad can it be?
Well, I visited Pompeii in Italy when I was a teenager. And when they did the excavation, they found the nude bodies and all kinds of contortions.
You would find nude bodies in an excavation after a volcanic eruption. They are burned off, all right?
Well, they found them.
Well, good. Did they find any of them having intercourse?
And other things.
And they found them having intercourse and other things. I would imagine.
Groups of them. Orgies.
I would imagine if I announced to this audience right now that we were going to be attacked by a nuclear weapon in a few minutes, there would be a certain number of us who would pray, and there would be a certain number of us that they would find in groups.
I personally would have a peanut butter sandwich.
Well, and realistically, to be perfectly honest with you, you'd probably find me praying that I was in one of the groups.
I see nothing wrong with these young ladies that are sitting here. Now, if you take it, this lady and this lady, they're the perverts. Because they're the perverts.
Oh, wait a second. No, I don't think so. I think there's some validity in saying you don't want the kids running around, all right? Not because there's anything wrong with the kids running around, but because you might have some sickos, all right, who'll go out just to take a look at
Consenting adults. If they want to do it, let them do it, but let them leave their kids home.
Do you understand what the word pervert means?
Yeah, you.
You know what your problem is? You ain't got it since Eisenhower was president.
See, I fight with people that nothing to say to you.
Was your IQ
Let me ask Diane a question. Let me ask Diane a question. We know, all right, we know we can all have some fun with this, but really, what's the long-term impact on a kid's first real memory of dear old dad and his hairy body and mom's kind of...
You know something? If you're walking around in your house and you don't have any clothes on and it's your family, and if you choose to live like that, it's not for me to judge you. What I'm saying is that you have people with perverted sexual appetites that come into these places. They come into these places. And you know something? Maybe it doesn't happen in your place, but what happens when they go on the street? What happens when they go on the street? There are statistics saying rapes happen. A lot of other stuff happens. Because they are sexually aroused in your camp.
Have you gotten sexually aroused looking at these bodies in here today?
I'm not sexually aroused with that.
Honey, I don't care if you get sexually aroused with me. Believe me. All right, you're sitting next to a very lovely young lady. Are you sexually aroused?
No, not at all, sir.
You're sick. You're sitting next to the guy in the American flag. You're down a little. Are you sexually aroused?
Well, the flag is my country. It's my flag excites me. The flag is my country, and my country is freedom, and I love it. And I think everyone has the right to be his own person in their own country.
Freedom of choice.
And the freedom of choice.
Would you agree with me, though? Would you agree with me, as Diane and Phyllis have said, that maybe where we draw the line is with kids, consenting adults, maybe is the answer? Huh?
Yeah.
All right, you say no.
I think the problem is when you teach that nudity is wrong and evil and disgusting, that's when you get a worse sense of sexuality, and that's when you get your rights.
I have a 12-year-old son that I do not teach that nudity is wrong when he is going to be married and with his spouse. It is a sin publicly. It is a sin publicly.
Wait a second, Fran, zip it. Wait a second, Diane, zip it a second. Has your 12-year-old son ever seen you in the nude?
Yes, a couple of times. Let me respond, people. It was by accident, but because it was by accident, I didn't run and hide and tell him, naughty, naughty, naughty.
What'd you do?
I was not shameful of that. I just excused myself. He was a little embarrassed, but I did not make him feel as though it was acting out.
Wait a second. Didn't he think it was strange that you could see him in the tub while you washed him and maybe
I couldn't see him in the tub after he was about 3 or 4 years old.
Have you ever seen him in the tub?
As a young child.
Who washed him?
I did.
Did you wash his genitals?
Yes. That's a mother's place to do that.
Well, if it's a mother's place to do that, why isn't it necessarily a son's or a daughter's place to be able to see their parents in the nude? What's wrong with that?
Because, and I'd like to quote a psychiatrist this afternoon.
I hate psychiatrists, all right?
A Christian psychiatrist. A born-again Christian psychiatrist.
A born-again Christian psychiatrist. That really impresses me. Could care less about born-again Christians. Go ahead, pal.
Yeah. I just think the treehouse people should be able to do what they want, but I think they should draw the line at the kids. I think there should at least be an age set for the kids to reach before, and then they make the decision themselves. Because I don't think this was forced upon them, and it shouldn't be forced upon children.
The future of our unit movement is within our children, but it doesn't mean that they don't have their own choice.
But they don't have a mind for that yet.
Yes,
Children,
they
until
do.
they reach a certain age,
My
will listen to
youngest is
anything you tell
25.
them.
We've been nudists for 25 years. He was a babe in arms when we first became nudists. When he went into puberty, he at that point in time had his choice, just like all the other 4 children. They could go forward with the nudist lifestyle, or they didn't have to.
Until a certain age.
They chose They chose to stay with the movement, and they're now raising their children, which now is 16 grandchildren that we have.
That's fine,
We feel
but
it's very important
you should
to
not
show
expose
them
the little
properly.
children to this. They don't have
Amen.
support.
He's right. He's right. You're wrong. Audience, next. You speak up. Let's start with the audience. You're standing right next to Diane. You have anything to say? She's all right.
What I want
You're
to
all
say
right,
is,
kid.
whatever she does at home with her kids, that's fine, or what anyone does with their kids, that's fine. That's how you become intimate and close with your children and your family. But I think that it's okay if there are designated areas where people who don't want to be involved can avoid. It's fine. Designate those areas as nudist beaches, nudist areas, and then you don't have to be bothered. You don't have to be bothered if you don't cross that sign that says nudist beach. You're fine.
Okay, anywhere that's just opening the door.
Nudism is not for everybody, and
So
if we
but you want it to be for everybody.
nobody would know who the enemy was, and there'd be no
How come most of the nudist beaches are closing now?
Let me tell you the bottom
Why?
line
I'm
here.
asking you. Why did they close the nudist beach in Sarasota? Why are they closing the nudist beach in Rome? There are no rednecks in Rome, Italy.
We're not that familiar with the beaches, but it possibly could be.
People have freedom of
Nudists,
choice.
real nudists.
Wait, one at a time, damn it.
Anybody's talk.
People have freedom of
Anybody's
choice.
engagement at all.
Now she
Like your
speaks.
resort?
Yes.
It's like your resort? That's fine. If you want to be that, that's fine. I could go do
Let me hear
that
from
for
this
a
gentleman
week.
now. I want to get everyone a chance here.
I'll probably be more truthful than anybody. These girls are hot. They make me hot. They make me smile. But I'm not going to hurt them. It doesn't make me a pervert for liking it.
I think the real problem with the sickos abusing women and raping that is the sickos, all right, never get a chance to get out and see what a woman looks like. Maybe they then wouldn't be.
Yeah, as far as the Einstein sisters over here, Phyllis Diller and Diane Lewis, or Diane Lewis, or whatever your
I gave you
name
the
is.
microphone for you to...
I think that both of you are going way overboard. I mean, you know, you believe in the Bible, and I don't want to knock the Bible because it's a sacred book, but you can't believe everything and live your life by it because the Bible condones slavery, the Bible says a lot of other things, and you have to live in moderation. There's nothing wrong with people who are going to go nude in a private area on the side. They're not bothering anybody. If you want to go after the perverts, why don't you go after the people that are raping people, that are going after the children, like Margaret, Chuck, and Michael? These people aren't harming anybody. What do you want from them?
Wait a minute.
They're not harming anybody.
It's totally the Word of God.
All right, bottom line.
The bottom line here is that these people, what they're promoting, and those of you that agree with them, are a rebellious people.
Morton, the people are here. The people are speaking. The people are speaking. Go ahead, one at a time, pal.
First of
Go.
all, my grandmother's not a pervert, and she loves your legs.
How come it's always grandmothers who love my look?
I wanted to say that I'm glad these two women feel that way because those are 2 tons of fun I wouldn't want to see on the beach naked.
How'd you get in line again? How'd you get in line again? Let this man speak.
First of all...
No, the people now speak. We've heard all the expert bull. Let's go with some people.
First of all, I'd like to know where I can join one of these nudist colonies.
How do you join one?
You call the American Sunbathing Association in Florida, in Kissimmee, Florida, and they will give you the information of any of the clubs in your area.
Okay, enough promo.
The more nothing wrong with it about this is like moving to Last Temptation. You're going to create more awareness and involvement in it. So why don't you just leave it alone and go after something that's more important?
The perverts, the incest people. The people are doing that to kids.
On a 1 to 10, this is not my top subject.
This is a choice. You're taking it You need to go out and maybe visit a nudist beach and see what it's about. You don't even know what it's about.
You said something. You don't have to open the door.
We'll be back with the people again. You experts, sit down. I want to hear the people. Come on. Go with this young man. Go ahead, pal.
Yeah, Morton, I like to say America is free and people should be liberated here. And that means clothing, sex, whatever it has.
Listen, liberated as long as it's not hurting anyone else.
Correct. And that should be on any street in 52 states.
Street?
Any street or beach.
I'll buy the beach. By the beach, but I don't want public, I don't want public restaurants and things. I don't want to walk into some restaurant where, and please, I don't mean this as a insult, where someone with been sitting on a chair.
No, of course not, Morton. What I'm saying is not in restaurants, but I'm saying on the streets, on the sidewalks, anywhere.
These people here are my parents. You talk about people that are perverts and stuff. Well, for 25 years they've done it. I have 2 younger sisters. They never asked us to pose nude with them. They don't have any kiddie films of us nude. They let us do what we want. We've had our freedom of choice. You want to pick on perverts just like this gentleman here said. Go pick on the big time.
It's been a great week in Atlantic City, gang. I'm glad y'all got naked with us. Good time.